Frog Prince. Once upon a time, a princess was given a shining golden ball, and it became her favorite toy. The princess loved to play in the garden, throwing her ball high into the air and catching it. One day, she threw the ball too high and it fell into the inky water of the garden well. While she sat crying by the side of the well, the princess heard a tiny, kind voice. "Why are you crying, beautiful princess?" The princess could see no one in the garden until she looked inside the well and saw a small frog. "Maybe I can help you," said the frog. The princess was startled, but she told the little frog all about the ball. "If you promise me a few small favors, I will get the ball for you," the frog croaked softly. "You can have anything," exclaimed the princess. "My jewels, my crown, they're yours." "All I want," explained the frog, "is your friendship. Bring me to eat from your golden plate, place me on a silk pillow in your room at night. Promise me friendship, and I will get your ball for you." The slimy frog made the princess sick to her stomach, but she did want the ball back. She decided that she would make the promise, but she would not keep it. The princess promised, and down the frog dove into the rippling dark water. Just as the princess was about to give up, the tiny frog struggled to the surface, the heavy ball wrapped in his thin arms. The princess was thrilled. She jumped up and ran back to the castle, leaving the helpful frog behind. "Princess," he croaked as loudly as he could, "you've forgotten me. I can't keep up with you on my tiny legs. Please help me." The princess was so happy to have her favorite toy. She skipped into the castle and she knew that before long she would forget about that awful slimy frog. Late the next evening, the royal family was enjoying a delicious meal together when they all heard a squishy, splashy noise. Splish, splash, splish, splash. Then there was a light knock on the door, and the princess knew who it was. The king asked the princess to get the door, but she refused, hoping the frog would give up and go away. Her father wouldn't allow her to ignore a visitor. The princess went to the door. "Thank goodness, princess," croaked the breathless frog, exhausted from his long journey. "I've been jumping all day to get here. You forgot me in the garden." Quickly, the princess slammed the door in the face of the poor, exhausted frog and ran back to dinner. "Where's our guest?" the king asked his daughter. She told him about the frog and the promise. "We can't leave a visitor out in the darkness," exclaimed the king. "But father," moaned the princess, "his skin is wet and slimy, his limbs are thin and wretched. I can't bring him in." "You made a promise. We are fair and caring rulers. Go and invite our guest to join us for dinner." The princess was left with no choice. Once again, the princess opened the door and the happy frog jumped inside. After introducing himself to the royal family, the frog turned to the princess. "I'm so small, and I'm tired from my long journey," said the frog. "Can you help me to the table where I can drink from your cup and eat from your plate, as you promised I would?" Under the eyes of the king, the princess forced herself to touch the moist skin of the frog. Once he was on the table, she saw that he was tired, and the heart of the princess softened towards the frog, but only for a moment. When the frog had eaten his fill, he spoke to the princess again. "I'm so tired, princess. Can you please carry me to your room where I can sleep on a silk pillow as you promised I would?" asked the frog. The princess twisted her face into a look of disgust. The king became angry. "You must keep a promise once it is made," lectured the king. The princess grabbed the frog and held him out as far from her as she could. "Oh, thank you, princess," cooed the frog in a voice the princess was beginning to find almost sweet. "I'm so tired and need to rest." The princess found that her heart softened quite a bit for the frog, but only briefly. Once the pair had reached her room, the princess left the frog on the floor. "But what about the silk pillow you promised me?" croaked the frog. The princess was enraged. She didn't want this slimy creature in her house, not in her room, and certainly not on her pillow. Before she knew what she was doing, she kicked the frog. The moment the frog hit the wall, the princess was heavy with regret. The little body lay on the floor and she ran to it. She cuddled him, her heart completely soft to the sweet frog. I'm sorry, she cried. You are a wonderful friend. As the tears of the princess fell onto the green skin of the frog, he began to glow, first like a lightning bug, then like a lamp, and finally like a bolt of lightning. The frog was suddenly gone, and in his place stood a handsome prince. Your friendship broke the spell placed on me by a terrible sorcerer, he explained. The two became great friends, and when their parents grew old, the princess and the prince became queen and king. They were fair rulers of their kingdoms, and they taught their subjects to help others and keep promises. They lived happily ever after. The end.